Question: do you always know the right questions to ask when you are making decisions in your organization? Did you know that the difference between healthy organizations and unhealthy organizations is usually determined by the questions they ask, individually and collectively? Welcome to the 4 Leaders Podcast. My name is Ronnie Floyd, and I have the privilege to host this time and to share with you. And I really hope that you will dial in with us today and focus in, because here is the subject: decision-making in leadership. 4 questions that we're going to ask ourselves when we are making decisions in our job, our company, our business, our nonprofit organization, our for-profit organization, whatever we're doing in life. What are the questions that we should be asking ourselves?
Ronnie Floyd is a leader of leaders with a vision to change the world. The 4 Leaders Podcast with Ronnie Floyd is committed to investing, inspiring, and influencing your life and leadership today. With a legacy of investing in thousands and thousands of leaders throughout the years who've led in multiple arenas of leadership. Now is the time, and today is the day for Ronnie Floyd to invest, inspire, and influence you in a serious and responsible way. So spread the news and share the 4 Leaders Podcast with others around the world. Now, here's your host, Ronnie Floyd.
You know, years ago, I really got to a point, I really wanted to give people within our organization, our church at that time, I wanted to give them the joy of us empowering them to make decisions. But that required them learning to think the way we would want them to think about those issues. That doesn't mean they check their intellect at the door. That means they gear up and they grow in their leadership, and they're not only speaking for themselves, they're speaking for the organization. So in all that, I created a grid. And some of this I'm going to share with you today. Some of it's stuff I've never shared before. But I'm going to share it around this whole thought process today. 4 important questions every leader needs to ask when they are making decisions in the business, the team, the company, the church, whatever they're working in and whoever they're working for and whatever they're doing in their job. Question number 1. What is best for the organization I serve? You see, oftentimes people will come to you wherever you are in the organizational chart. Whether you're that eager person who just started work 6 months ago and you're working yourself in your job, you're seeing a future for you long term there. Or you're that person that is in the middle part of the organization. Or maybe you're in the upper leadership team, or maybe you're the leader of the organization. I believe that the most important question, and it's the first question every employee should always ask: what is best for the organization I serve? Again, in a business, a team, a university, a medical practice, a church, a nation, a ministry, what is best for the organization I serve? You see, it's important that as the leader of the organization and the upper leadership team of the organization, every employee needs to understand that is the most important question they always ask themselves when they are making decisions in the organization. To an employee out here, that may seem like, well, that's I don't understand why we would do that. I can tell you I understand, because the smallest decisions in an organization can have long-term consequences. And people have to think like the leader of the organization thinks, and they have to think like the organization wants to be and what the organization wants to become. So the most important question is, what is best for the organization I serve? That means that you have to teach not only every employee, but you've got to teach and encourage every stakeholder, every stockholder, the importance of asking the question. You see, everyone wants a positive outcome because they love it. They invest in it. They believe in it. And I get that. And that's true. But that does not eliminate us asking the question. Because if you ignore the question and the importance of what's best for the organization, and you go back to what we talked about before on the podcast in episode 3, we talked about this whole subject relating to strategic thinking in leadership. You see, this question about what is best for the organization that I serve is the first and most important question that always must be answered correctly. What is best? I can assure you, and I think our team has heard me say this here at Cross Church for years and years and years. And I served here almost 33 years. And God taught me as a very young leader when I started it here, my life here, God taught me that I've got to always ask one question: what's best for the church? And I taught our team that. I would agonize over decisions, and there would be oftentimes in the pulpit, I would make the statements just like what I'm saying, because I wanted the people to know this church matters. This is a very influential spiritual entity in this region and across this state and in many places in the country and some around the world. And what is best for the organization is always critical. Now, I want to go to the second question that we need to ask. Once the first question's been asked, what's the second question? You need to ask yourself, what is best for the office of the leader? The office of the leader. Now, what do you mean by the office of a leader? Well, if you're leading in a local church, it's really the office of the pastor. If you're leading in a corporate company, it's got to be this whole what is best for the office of the leaders of this organization, the president's office, whatever that would be deemed, the CEO's office. You say, why is that important? I'll tell you why it's important. Because if the leader and the office of the leader is not recognized and understood, the organization will get in disarray. Let me say it this way. What I'm talking about here in this section is not about the person leading. This is about the office of the person who is leading. When it doesn't matter whether it's a country, it doesn't matter whether it's a team, an athletic team out here, and whether it's people are already down on the coach or whatever the situation would be. I just think it's important we understand that the office of the leader of the organization, the business, the team, or the church is pivotal to the success of the organization. Again, I regret I have to say it, but I'm going to say it again because I don't want to be misinterpreted. I'm not talking about the person. I'm talking about the office of the person. People, listen, are going to make mistakes. But you don't throw away everything because of a mistake somebody makes. Here's what I've become convinced of. And I've watched this even in our country. When the office is mocked, criticized continually, or lied about, it will damage the organization greatly. It will damage it. I mean, you think about how people mock the various leaders in our country, how they mock the various leaders within organizations, corporations. Social media has literally made leadership so much more difficult. You just think what politicians put up with? You think what coaches put up with? What CEOs put up with? What some pastors put up with? I mean, listen, it's a tough day to lead. But again, let's remember, this is not about the person. That person is a snapshot in time in that organization, as I talked about in episode 3. But when we're talking about criticizing and mocking and doing things like, don't make it about the person. This is about the office. The office must be important, and we cannot blindly just go after it constantly and try to demean it. Because if you demean the office of the leader, then it's going to have a negative trajectory for the future of the organization, sometimes even long term. You know, I think it's important we remember that we have to ask ourselves, in the midst of any decision making of the organization I serve, the job I work in, whatever it is, I've got to always ask first, what is best for the organization that I serve? And then I have to ask, now, what is best for the office of the leader of the organization I serve? And then there's a third question. What is best for the department or the segment of the organization that I serve? What is best? They need to be asked in this order. Because if the first question about what's best for your organization may help you make a decision immediately, this is not the right thing to do. Or if you have a question about it, you got to keep going down in the grid, and the grid then leads you to the office of the leader of the organization. That may also say, well, this is not going to help the office long term. This is going to demean the role of the leader in the organization. That's not ever good. But then you think, okay, I still don't know the answer. Then you ask the question that some of you may start asking, but this one doesn't come to number 3, and that is, what is best for the department or the segment of the business that I serve? What is it? You see, it is natural for anyone serving in a department to always be concerned about the department that they serve in. And they can see things, but many times they can't see peripherally. They cannot see all around them. They cannot see the whole picture long term. They see it through their eyes. Listen, very few people in the organization get the privilege to see everything from the big perspective. And so all this is natural. I want to make that clear. This is not about somebody being bad and somebody being good. This is all very natural, but I just want to tell you that doesn't make it right always. Intentions may be good. Well, our organization needs this. We must have this. That group over there doesn't deserve to have it. We need to have it. We're the ones growing. We're the ones making a difference. Wait a minute. Be careful. Your intentions are good. You want your organization, the department, the segment of your company, or your church, you really want that to be successful. But at some point, listen, you need to desire ultimately what's best for the organization, what's best for the office of the leader, what's best then for the segment of the company, the business that you are serving. Are you getting in the flow of what I'm saying? We start here big. And if so many questions have quick answers, if we just think about that first question, what's best for the organization I serve? If I still don't know the answer, I go down and I ask this question: what is best for the office of the organization, the leader of the organization that I serve and with? What is best? Well, you say, well, I'm still not sure. What is best? Okay. Then you ask, then what's best for my segment of the business that I am working in, my department, in my company that I'm working in. And that helps you. All right. That helps you see, and that may answer it. But let me just tell you what the fourth question is. And I said there were four, and there are four. The fourth question is this question: what is best for me? What is best for me? You see, here's the problem. Usually, when people are in a job, regardless of the level, including the president, all right, the leader, it is a big mistake when people make the answer to anyone's questions, well, I'm going to do what's best for me. No, it's not what's best for you. It's what's best for the organization. What's best for the office of the leader of the organization? What's best for the segment of the company that I'm a part of? And then, okay, then do what's best for you. There will be times that it may come to that. But it's important that we understand this is not about us. And we could say, well, I want to do this, and I really want to do this. Well, here's what I know. Healthy and winning organizations and businesses and teams and churches and political parties, or any organization that is healthy and winning, they don't cater to the loudest group, any specific group, or any one leader, regardless of who they are. And that includes the leader, himself or herself. I'm not advocating, and I want to make clear here, because we have to watch out. Well, everything we say today, people can take it and turn it, but please don't do that here. I'm not advocating that it's all about the organization itself. No. But decision making is about all four of these. We just have to keep them in perspective. Do you follow me? Because there are times it's okay to do what's best for you, but you got to run it through the grid first. It's okay for you to do what's best for the segment of the company, but you need to run it through the grid. So we need to keep all in perspective, and not let the me epidemic destroy the organization. It's so important we do this. I think that when you ask those kind of questions, your organization will become very strong. But I want to challenge you. You need to refuse to let this grid become inverted. What do you mean? Reversed. Because then, when you're presented with a decision, if it were inverted, I'll tell you what you're going to think about first. Well, I'm going to do what's best for me. And then if you say, well, I don't know if that's always best. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm just going to do what's best for what I'm a part of, because it's going to impact me in a good way if I can get it for my department. No. But don't invert these. That's dangerous. Because you see, when the organization itself is the last one being considered, that's just not right. You're there to fulfill a purpose in any organization, profit or nonprofit. I mean, you're there for action. You're there for changing the game. You're there for doing the right thing in the right way, to help people, serve people, move things forward. It's not about me. It's not about you. It is ultimately about the mission of the organization that we serve, not a bunch of stuff that we do, but about the mission of what we do. And you know, that's exactly another reason today that I just want to mention again, and I'm going to mention it a lot, about this new book that'll be coming out on June the 4th, because in this book called Day by Day and Night by Night, it's written for leaders. It's 365 morning and evening devotions. That's right. We've written them all. It'd take you 2 to 4 minutes to read it. That's it. A day. 2 to 4 minutes a day. It's going to impact your thinking. It's going to help you make decisions. In fact, I talk about the importance of decision making many days in this journal. I want to urge you, consider what I've shared today. This is so important in an organization. Do not minimize it. Take the basics of what I shared. Now, I want you to really get this. Take the basis of what I just shared, those 4 questions, and put it in your company. Put it in your church. Put it in the organization you serve. In other words, appropriate it. I mean, that's important. If I appropriated it for a church, I can easily do that. Then I would ask it this way: what's best for the church? What's best for the office of the pastor? Not the pastor, but the office of the pastor. If you sacrifice the office, that will not be good for the sake of the church. Third question, what's best for the ministry I serve? And then ultimately, what's best for me? That's easily adapted to a church. But every business is different, and every church is different. Everything is different everywhere, and you can adapt this to a team that you're on, an athletic team, or whatever it may be. But if you're somewhere in that organization, make it adaptable, and then you start operating like that. Let me tell you what's going to happen. If you're in the organization and you're young and you're eager, or maybe you're just eager about it, and maybe you just decided, I'm going to go to work for this organization, and they say, we have a place, but you know, it really is going to place you lower in the lower level of the organization. Or if you're in the middle of the organization, or you're at the top upper echelon of leadership, let me tell you where you're going to go if you put these questions into order and into action. I'll tell you where you're going to go. You're going to go up. You're going to ascend the organization. I can assure you, I have worked in enough large organizations and with enough leaders. When somebody begins to see the big picture, and they're always concerned not only about themselves, but about the future of what's going on, that is like music to my ears, because that makes me say, this person is special because they're thinking more than just about themselves. Boy, I tell you what, I sure want to be that kind of leader. I really do. And I hope you do. And I just pray that God gives you a wonderful week. I want to urge you to really take some time this week, and would you help me do something? I want you to help me get this word out. Would you share this on media platforms? Tell people about forleaders.com. You can listen or watch this podcast. You can watch it on YouTube. You can listen to it in relationship to on any podcast platform, or you can go to forwardleaders.com on every Wednesday morning. You say, well, I can't remember that. Okay, remember my name? Go to ronniefloyd.com. And if you'll go to the home page and just scroll down a little bit on the home page, here's what you're going to find. You're going to find this podcast released every Wednesday morning, okay? And you're going to have a choice. You can watch it or you can listen to it. And I hope you'll join us in days to come. Thanks for being a part of today. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May God's face shine upon you this week. And may His favor be on everything in your life, everything in your family, and everything in the organization that you serve.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information on Ronnie Floyd, go to forleaders.com. We'll see you next time.